friends, welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Stacy and I am the chapter Conundrum. And in today's video, I want to talk to you guys about 5 trilogies that I've read the first book in. And a lot of them were situations where I had a buddy read going, but the buddy read was only for the first book, and then I got distracted with other things instead of continuing on, even though I enjoyed book 1. And then in other cases, I maybe had plans to get to the sequels, but I hit a slump or things changed. But regardless of how it happened, I have 5 series that I'm in this situation with, and I want your help deciding what to do. One of my massive goals for the past while has been to finish some dang series, and I am now at the point where I have finished out all of the series that I only had 1 book left to read in. So my next kind of easy win is probably going to be finishing out some trilogies or a series that I have 2 books left to read in. And I thought that this video would be a fun way to get me excited about some of the trilogies on my list based on what you guys have to say about them down below. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So the first series I want to talk about is the Raven's Shadow trilogy, and that starts, of course, with Bloodsong, and this is by Anthony Ryan. And this follows our main character, Valen Al-Sorna, as he is going through a lot of military training as part of the 6th Order. And the further into the story you get, you start unpacking more and more about the political aspects of this world, and you get some military stuff going on, and it's definitely really interesting. I know that book 2 and 3 in the series are generally considered to be not as good as this first one, but I am curious about them because I've heard that you get other POVs for some of the side characters in this one, and I did enjoy those characters. And I'm just really interested to see where we go from here based on how this one left me. It was also a case of I didn't own books 2 and 3 when I first read this because I wasn't sure how I would feel about the series. I had heard that it was a bit more slow paced, and so I was a little bit unsure about just how slow and how I would feel about it. But now that I know that I enjoyed this one, I have picked up the sequels and I'm ready anytime. So the next trilogy I have to touch on is The Green Bone Saga by Fonda Lee, and this of course starts with Jade City. So I read Jade City back in 2020, and I picked it up because there was a buddy read for the first book happening. But the buddy read didn't continue to Jade War, and of course Jade Legacy wasn't out at the time. So now that the series is completed, it's one I need to get back to and finish. So, of course, this series mixes a lot of interesting elements. You've got some martial arts stuff, you've got a lot of clan or family politics in this mafia-like situation, and you've got families vying for control of the jade that controls the magic in this world. This is one that I enjoyed back when I read it. I did wish that the magic system had been a bit more explored and fleshed out, but nonetheless, I enjoyed it enough to decide to pick up the audiobooks for the whole trilogy. So now that the series is completed, and I've heard almost everyone say that it just gets better and better, I am looking forward to picking this one up and finishing it out. So the next trilogy I have on my list is A Red Queen's War by Mark Lawrence. And just for context, I have read the previous trilogy set in the same world, The Broken Empire, and I've also read Road Brothers, which is the short story collection that sort of spans between the 2 trilogies. So this is one that when I picked up the first book, I was kind of in a slump and I didn't really give it my full attention span, but I also remembered feeling like I would have a better experience with it if I had waited a bit of time between finishing Broken Empire and starting Red Queen's War, only because the tone of Red Queen's War is massively different, and Broken Empire was such a favorite that I was sort of hoping for a little bit more of those same things in Red Queen's War, and I didn't get it. But Red Queen's War is narrated by my all-time favorite audiobook narrator, Tim Gerard Reynolds, so it has that going for it. And I'm definitely very curious to jump into more of Mark Lawrence's work. So if you have read this one, let me know what you thought of it down below. So the 4th trilogy on my list is the Daevabad trilogy, starting with City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. And this is a series that follows Nari, a con artist who accidentally summons a djinn, and that djinn takes her to Daevabad. And the other perspective we follow is a prince in that city. And I do remember enjoying all the political intrigue involved in this series. But this was just a case of I squeezed the first book in when I had time for a mood read, and then I didn't make time to prioritize the sequels back to back. and just never got there. So at this point I need a refresher for sure, and that's part of the reason that I've been delaying picking it up, because I know I'm gonna have to reread book 1. But I definitely enjoyed it when I read it, and I'm looking forward to continuing with this eventually. And then the last trilogy I have on my list that I want to talk to you guys about is the Wraith King series by Grace Draven, and this is the first book here, Radiance. And this is an indie fantasy romance trilogy, and I have read and enjoyed this first one. I remember really loving the dynamic the main characters had. And the premise is that they're both royalty in their own races, and they're put into an arranged marriage, so they have a lot to work out and compromise on and figure out about each other. And it's just really interesting to watch that all unfold, especially given their personalities and how they mesh together. So the main reason I didn't continue with this when I first read it was that I only owned the first book, and I don't even know if these have audiobooks actually, but I do own the paperbacks of books 2 and 3 now, so I'm all set and ready to continue the series whenever, and am looking forward to reading on and seeing what happens next with these characters. So those were the 5 trilogies I need to get off my butt and read at some point soon. Let me know which one you guys are most excited for me to read, which ones you've enjoyed, which one you think I should prioritize. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe on your way out if you want to, and have a great day. Bye!